And welcome back. I'm Mabel John, coming to you live from the World Healthcare Congress here in Washington, D.C. Up next, a very special guest, a funny one, the author of Finding the Funny Fast, How to Create Quick Humor to Connect with Clients, Coworkers, and Crowds, by Jan McInnis. Now, Jan was our morning comedian. She did a show at 7:30 in the morning, so I'm going to ask her if she could really find the humor in that early morning wake-up call. Jan, how are you?
Hi, good, Mabel. Yes, I would rather be on at 7:30 in the morning than 7:30 at night.
Okay,
they're
but
fresh, they're not drinking, you know.
And did the audience find that funny, being up that early to hear you?
The people that braved it and got up had a great time, yeah. And it was my humor keynote, so it wasn't just joke, joke, joke. I gave some tips on how to use humor to handle change.
Okay, so what are some of the tips? Give me your three top ones.
Okay, well, I talk about how to change your focus. You can't, you know, if you're walking around dealing with a change situation you don't like, you have to find a way to change your focus, and you can do that by finding the humor. I talk about getting the big elephant out on the table. You know, if you sit down to a staff meeting and you've just had some big change, layoffs, you know, budget cuts, no more free coffee, something like that, and you're not going to talk about it, guess what? Everyone at the table is sitting there thinking about it, and they're not going to listen to what you're saying because they're going to think you're not paying attention to what they're going through. So you can use humor just really quickly to address it and move on.
Okay, so give me an example. Somebody's like taking away the coffee machine. People are really upset about that.
You know what? You want to address it. A quick way comedians address things is we take a quick survey. Like if something happens on stage that isn't conducive to comedy and I have to go follow it, I can't go right into my act. So I'll go out and say, hey, quick survey, how many people think, blah, blah, blah. And it instantly gets people laughing. I use the example, I was doing a program, a comedy show for a big corporation, and it was right after the Super Bowl, and the boss, I guess he'd spent his whole Super Bowl Sunday watching the game and then making this really not so interesting analogy between life and the Super Bowl, and he's, you know, we're on the 50-yard line, we're going to the end zone, and so he went out there and people were kind of falling asleep, and he knew he was bombing, so he ran off and pushed me out there. And I can't just start into my act with that, so I used the survey. I went out and said, hey, quick survey, how many people hope next year during the Super Bowl Bill does like the rest of us and just drinks a beer? Got everyone laughing, and then I moved into my act. So I kind of show a few tips like that that you can use to clear the air and move on.
Okay, are people wired to be funny, or can you actually learn how to be?
I think it's sort of a combination of both. You know, there's comedians, Robin Williams, that are always on, and they're really wired. But I think also comedians, it's a skill that you practice, and we know where to look. And so when we do it, after doing it for me 25 years, I walk into a room, I know where to look and to find the humor. And so that's what I tell people in business. Here's some places you can look, and you have to practice it. You have to kind of start looking for it, and then it starts popping out at you.
Mm-hmm. Is it okay for business leaders who are helming these big companies to be funny?
I think it is. I think people aren't, first of all, they're not expecting you to be belly laugh funny like a comedian. I think it's a great way to open up lines of communication, let people know that, you know, connect instantly with people, let them know that you're a good guy or good girl, you know. You don't have to be belly laugh funny, you don't have to come in with joke, joke, joke. Just use a little bit of humor to set everyone, change the energy a little bit and kind of set everyone at ease. I think it's totally appropriate.
Mm-hmm. And Jan, what are some of the funniest anecdotes you could share with us, just to kind of round out our conversation here?
As far as what's happened to me over 25 years, oh my goodness, I started in comedy clubs and then kind of went through the whole comedy thing and into the corporate arena. Probably just some of the setups I've been involved with have been kind of odd. I did one show where it was about 800 people, and they said, we want to make sure everyone can see you, so we're going to put you on a pedestal in the middle of the room, and people are going to sit around you, and you're going to spin and tell jokes.
Okay, that already seems funny.
It worked, but I would never want to do it again.
Jan McInnis, so we're going to have to leave it there. It sounds like people need to catch your show or read your book.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you. Stay tuned. We have Dr. Imelda Daconis coming up next.